All right. Good evening, folks. This is Tim Ealer, meteorologist. One more video update for Imelda and Humberto. Models are almost unanimous agreement, except for a few ensemble members. Well, they all are taking it out to sea. Well, it's already at sea, but you know what I mean. Recurving pretty sharply here. Humberto, of course, is over here. Powerful storm. Imelda here. And so once we got the low formed and saw the speed of it, the models were able to initialize better and finally get a good handle on what this was going to do. So that illustrates how hard it is to forecast track guidance. We don't have a defined low level circulation. Okay. So real quickly here, you see the drier air kind of coming around the backside a little bit of the Imelda, but and Humberto's gotten a lot larger over the course of the day today. It went through IRL replacement, and it's still going strong out there in the tropical Atlantic. We switch over to visible loop. Very impressive still storm. These are very close together. Imelda is looking more like a tropical storm all the time. Okay. Um, Look at long wave infrared. Still some dry air you can see on the backside of it over here. And I think Humberto is still struggling with the IRL replacement going on here. See how small the eye is? Okay. And so that's what happened with that. Here's the most current cone for tropical storm Imelda is at 5 p.m. Tropical storm warnings have been canceled on the Florida coast. The storm is just moving directly north now. Okay. And it's forecast to take a sharp turn out towards Bermuda. So Bermuda needs to be on guard for this storm because it's looking like it's going to come nearby there. Here's the latest total rainfall associated with Imelda. Most of the heavy rain forecast to stay offshore. And this is not directly from Imelda circulation, but from the moisture streaming to the north of it and divergence aloft over a relatively cooler air mass to the north and some lifting going on there. This is the latest flash flood risk. Been trimmed back quite a bit over the next 3 days. You can see slight risk right along the coastline with a higher risk along Florida and into uh, east of the Appalachians along the southeast coast. You see that each day here what the risks are. Okay. Uh, so here is the latest track guidance as far as the different models, right? Pretty much every model that exists is used by this website, Tropical Tidbits, is showing recurvature. So that's a pretty unanimous consensus. HWF, I mean, all these. Okay. So that's good news for the southeast coast. This is the ensemble of the GFS, which is 31 members. Okay. And so, remember a couple of days ago, it was trying to push it on shore here. And now what's happening? We still have some outliers here. that kind of want to take it up this way. I would say that's low confidence is going to do that. One wants to take it up like this, which I don't think is going to happen. More likely, it could stall out somewhere in here and maybe move up this way, but the chances of it reaching the east coast of the U.S. are almost zero at this point. This is the GPS, which is the Canadian and I think the European combined and super ensemble. If you still want to take it on shore, but I don't think that's realistic at this point. Ensemble members clearly take it out to sea here, but definitely Bermuda's in the crosshairs here. Model intensity guidance forecast to become likely a Cat 1 or Cat 2 hurricane. Once it reaches the point where it's going to start to recurve, some lighter shear, and warm waters will help contribute, and divergence aloft will help sustain the system in the face of some, you know, uh, moderate wind shear. But usually when storms get to a point where they're going to turn, they may um, move into more favorable conditions for a short period, and I think that's what's going to happen here. All right, so what's driving the rainfall? I want to show you this real quick. You see, there's an this is a upper level divergence. Okay, and you can see in the yellows here. I have a little trouble talking this evening. Sorry. The yellows here, lots of divergence aloft, which is helping to overrun, like I said, lower level cool air relatively and create lift, and moisture is streaming right up like this. Once this moves out to sea, that moisture source will be cut off, and then that rainfall will stop. You can see the vorticity bullseye here, right around where, well, divergence is most bullseye right here over top where Imelda is right now. Lastly, I'm going to go back and look at the 4 different ensembles here. Deep Mine takes everything out to sea here, okay? On both the deep mines. There's no disagreement at all here. Different recursive scenarios. This one's more to the right. This one is more to the northeast, and the other one's more to the east. European ensembles, all to the east here. Interestingly enough, there's a low maybe in the Gulf, but there hasn't been any talk about that really. So, not really looking for anything to happen there. Same thing with the GEFS ensembles. They've all come in a lot better agreement about what's going to happen here. Okay. Now, if I take the tracks off and just look at the lows, you see there's quite a bit of spread where it'll be, but likely near Bermuda by next Thursday or sooner. There's Bermuda there. So it's kind of covering up Bermuda right there. So what is the difference that's happening? Basically, Imelda, and this is a 500 millibar geopotential height. This is our steering flow, okay? Just want to explain this real quick on why the models have changed so drastically. You have high pressure at the mid levels. You see what's happening at Humberto's. Exerting some influence on the mid level ridge here. Moves to the flow, it weakens mid level ridge. and that the upper level low, it was over the southeast, does not pick up Imelda. Instead, there's just enough influence from Humberto to weaken the subtropical ridge, and there's Humberto up here, Imelda out there, and the ridge tries to build back in. And you see maybe what's left of Imelda here, wanting to move through the flow. Okay, but if we take that to the surface and look at it, let's look at first type in MSLP. See Imelda, Humberto, Imelda right here, Humberto up here. So what he wants to do with Imelda here, wants to kind of loop it back around. Let's look at the GFS and see what it does with it. Pretty same scenario pretty much. And it wants to kind of loop it back around too, but not as drastically. So scenario, see the high pressure here, right? There's no scenario that I can see that we're going to have anything impact the continental U.S. directly other than rainfall. Storm surge, really minimal. And the biggest impact is, you want to call it that, the highest impact is where rip currents. Rainfall is marginal to slight, but rip currents stay off the beaches along the East Coast for a couple days. Maybe for the rest of the week, you're going to have to stay off there. So that's all I got for this evening. I'm happy that we got some agreement on this and was able to tell y'all to don't let your guard down. Wait till it makes its turn, of course, but I have a lot of confidence that's going to happen. So it doesn't hurt to be prepared, though. You know what I mean? So have a good night, and I'll see you on the morning.